What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers have been very focused on a Portland Trailblazers trade, really trying to go after Jerami Grant. But the Portland Trailblazers, they want 2 firsts for Jerami Grant. Now, right now, it's still early, right? Utah trade, for example, 2 years ago now? Utah wanted the farm. They wanted both picks, unprotected. They wanted, Russell Westbrook. They wanted everything the Lakers had. And it was insane. Lakers were patient. You saw that drop like essentially in half going into the season, but then the Lakers were kind of contemplating the Buddy Hield Miles Turner trade, and then Jeanie ends up vetoing that trade, and then they were like, we're just going to run it and see what it looks like with the new head coach. Fast forward to the trade deadline, and then all of a sudden the Lakers were able to pull off the Utah trade and also get D'Lo in that deal for a quarter of what the original, I'm talking about like day one of like negotiations, right? Because that's usually how it goes. It's early. It's 2 months between now and the training camp, right? So teams are like, hey, we're not in a rush, right? You want him now? It's going to cost you a little more. I do think once we get to the kind of training camp area closer to the season, that's when I think you'll see Portland and some of these other teams. And maybe it's not Portland, maybe it's the Nets. Maybe the Nets go, you know what, we really want to tank further, right? Like one of these teams, the idea is that one of these teams will kind of go, all right, fine, we'll drop enough to get the deal done. And then that's where the Lakers can pounce. But sticking with the Portland idea, right? Lakers are kind of reluctant giving up trades. And I get it, right? Like Jerami Grant is a very good player, would be a very good fit. But he's not so good that all of a sudden we're a bona fide contender. He raises the ceiling, right? He makes us better. The Lakers would be much better with him. But we're not like, this is one of the top 5 teams in the league with just Jerami Grant by himself. The idea is that the Lakers, if they can pull off a Jerami Grant and like a Cam Johnson, right? Now maybe we're talking, right? Or if you could pull off, a Zach LaVine and a Cam Johnson, something, you need essentially at least 2 guys, clear off a couple raw spots. Maybe you could bring in like a Gary Trent Jr. on the taxpayer mid-level. Now you got like 3 guys. Now you're at the point where it's like, okay, now the Lakers may be able to be in contention. So I understand the reluctancy of like, hey, we don't want to sell the farm to go get a guy that maybe it makes us better, but not that much better. Because you got to keep in mind, the Lakers have one shot at this, right? They have one chance. Because they're not the Oklahoma City Thunder where they can lose 2 or 3 first and it's no big deal. No, whatever trades they make, they have to make sure that they're the right ones. And they have to get them for a good deal. But you have to give up something to get something, right? And so right now, based on just reports, it's Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt are kind of the 2 guys that they want. And then they also want, basically 2 first-round picks for Jerami Grant. Now, going under the assumption that the price drops, the Lakers have other needs. So, like, what if you could use Portland to kind of solve all your needs and go get a Jerami Grant and then maybe try to target a Deandre Ayton? I don't hate. So, personally, I think Robert Williams, I'd probably prefer. Not that Robert Williams is bad. Like, Ayton is incredibly talented, right? He's a guy that if he can just get focused, get his mental right, and get out of his own way, could be one of the best centers in the league, right? And you saw it towards the end of the Portland season last year. Like, Ayton really came alive and really looked good, but for the most part, he wasn't, like, he looked good in spots, but he wasn't like consistently great. But a lot of it is like, I think it's part ego. I think it's part just, he just can't get out of his own way. And that was the problem with the Suns. Like, Phoenix was better off, instead of trading for Beal, keeping Ayton and Chris Paul. Because then you would have had this like big 4, but it would have been more balanced. But Ayton wouldn't have liked that. Like, what was his biggest problem? He wasn't getting his touches. He wasn't getting the basketball, right? He wasn't getting along with Monty Williams. He wasn't getting along with Chris Paul, right? Like, he was this locker room problem. And I think he needs the right place with the right group around him and people that can kind of keep him in line, kind of put him in his place. Maybe even people that he would respect, right? So if he could buy in, right, and he could be focused, I like the idea of him alongside Anthony Davis and him being a piece long term because he's 25, right? So you have him long term and you could slot him alongside Anthony Davis. He doesn't really stretch the floor. He's not really a three-point shooter, but he can knock down the mid-range. He can knock down, the little elbow, basically 15 feet in, and he's money. And then on top of that, you add in, if you could get a Jerami Grant in the process too, right? Like now you're in this mix. Now you're in this position where it's like you got this size. You could go like the positionless, right? Like where LeBron slotted at the point, but really on defense he's like maybe the 4 or something, or maybe he's playing the 3 and you got Jerami Grant. But you could just go like the size route, or you could kind of humble Ayton a little bit and bring him off the bench and have him kind of be your sixth man and kind of like give him a piece of humble pie. But you look at Portland and it's like they got to get rid of somebody, and they're probably going to have to get rid of Ayton at some point, and he might not like what's his market value right now? His market value is probably not very good. I mean, even last year, he struggled. Like, he didn't look like, the idea was that, okay, he's going to his own team now, and he's going to just dominate. He's going to be this, 25 and 15 guy. And he wasn't. He was pedestrian, right? Like, I think, what he averaged, like 13 and 11? Like, so it's like, there's an argument, is his value lower now than it will be? Because they just drafted Clegan. So you have Clegan backing up Ayton for now. You can't really play those two together because neither really stretch the floor. Could Clegan maybe develop a three-point shot consistently at an NBA level? Sure, possibly. But they're both very similar players in the scope of they're more in that 15-in range. And then you have Robert Williams. The problem with Robert Williams is just health, right? Like Robert Williams, if he can stay healthy, you're in great shape. It's just the guy can't stay healthy. The guy can't play more than 40 games, right? But I think on the Lakers, he wouldn't be asked to have a huge, wouldn't ask to have this huge turnaround, right? It would just be kind of like, oh, hey, we need you for 10, 15-minute spots. We just need you on these little gaps, right? That to me is kind of why I like Robert Williams is can you keep him healthier? Because he's not asked to do and perform so much. But same breath, I like Ayton's upside. I like Ayton's potential as far as what he could provide on particularly the offside. He's not this great defensive player, but he can, and I think alongside Anthony Davis, I think the two of them can do some damage on the defensive side. But he's also a guy that you could dump the ball down to and just kind of settle things, right? You could get settled in. Ultimately, what is the cost at the end of the day, right? Does it cost? Because, like I said, they want Jerami Grant for 2 firsts. But my thinking is can you kind of package players, right, to kind of justify? So it's when you go to a store and it's you buy one, it's $5, but if you buy 2, it's $4, right? Or they're $3 each or whatever. You get 2 for $6, or you get 1 for $5, and it's well, I might as well get 2, right? Something like that, to where it's okay, you have this logjam at center with Ayton. What's the market for Ayton? Doesn't really seem to be any. I mean, granted, is he even really available? Portland, for the right price, will take anybody. But, okay, so you have that. Then you have, say, if you can get Jerami Grant, right? So you got Jerami Grant, you got Ayton, put them together. Does that cost, say, instead of, just 2 firsts for it, is that 2 firsts, maybe 2 firsts and a pick swap, or 2 firsts, a pick swap, and 2 seconds or something, where it's yes, you're kind of giving up 2 firsts for Grant, but you're also still getting Ayton in the deal for a first or a pick swap in 2 seconds. And it's like, oh, we're giving you what you want. Like, again, kind of lumping it together. It's kind of my thought process. But I don't know. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Just talking, right? Just exploring possibilities. So I want to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of, go get Ayton in the deal? Would you want to just trade for Ayton straight up, right? Like, let's say you don't even go for Grant. Just go for Ayton. Do you like the idea of going and getting Ayton, or do you think, no, just the can't get out of his own way stuff, right? Because that's his biggest problem. He can't get out of his own way. Just, like, he would just be so much better. Like, I think the potential, I think he could legit be, a 23-11 guy, which is great, right? I just think he needs the right pieces. The Lakers are the right pieces with LeBron James, right? With Anthony Davis, with JJ Redick, who I don't think will take any noise, any mess. It's just worth a thought. But again, I feel whatever thoughts are. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.